Next, check each paragraph and sentence for smooth transitions, clarity, and sentence sense. Does each paragraph flow from one to the next? Is each paragraph organized around a central idea that ultimately supports your argument or thesis? Does each sentence stay on topic, make sense, and say exactly what you mean? While you can aim to have sentences that are a variety of lengths, it is more important to avoid convoluted and confusing sentences. You want to make sure that you do not lose your reader or cause them to give up trying to understand your argument. Pay attention to how your paragraphs are organized, but also to how each sentence within the paragraph is organized. Do they flow smoothly and support the paragraph's central idea? Finally, check your conclusion. Make sure that it does not rehash or recite the obvious. Does it flow logically and smoothly from the body? Is it consistent with the opening? Always make sure you are concluding something that makes sense with and flows from your introduction. One strategy for working through your revision is to read the paper or report in a series of sweeps. So first you do a structure sweep. Scan to make sure there are logical connections between the various elements. You can do this by highlighting the main idea in each paragraph, then highlighting the transitions between the paragraphs. You can do this with using different colored highlighters, and it can be done either online or on paper. So ask yourself, are the transitions between paragraphs clear? Does each paragraph have a focus and a purpose? Does each paragraph reflect and advance my thesis? Are all parts of my argument logically developed? And of course, the next step is to do a development sweep to ensure that there's adequate support for the main claim in each paragraph. In other words, check that you are developing the argument with every paragraph. Do this by underlining or highlighting sentences in each paragraph that define, illustrate, or otherwise support the main idea. Ask yourself, is the supporting material clearly expressed? Is the supporting material persuasive? If there are only one or two supporting sentences within a paragraph, should other supporting sentences be added? Is my illustration complete? Is it clearly connected to my claim? Do I connect each claim to my essay's overall claim? Now, I actually like to have my thesis statement or argument printed out and taped above my computer as I work, so that I can keep checking back to my main argument to make sure that everything fits or makes sense together. If it's just in your head, sometimes you twist it a little bit. Sometimes you forget some of the nuances that you originally thought about. So it's good to write it out. Next, you want to check your special paragraphs, especially your introduction and conclusion, followed by any other special paragraphs, which could be a transition paragraph or something like that. But the main ones are your introduction and conclusion. So, ask yourself, does the introduction capture the reader's attention, clearly establish my thesis or claim, define difficult or challenging terms, provide the background necessary to a successful argument? Then you check the conclusion. Ask yourself again, does the conclusion restate my thesis in new words? Does it summarize the main points supporting my argument? Does it reiterate the general significance of my subject? And does the last sentence express an appropriate sense of finality? The final stage is proofreading. Proofreading should always be done last. Proofreading is intended to uncover errors in spelling, punctuation, sentence structure, and word usage. First, check for basic formatting. In most social sciences, including communication, education, and psychology, you should follow the APA guidelines for formatting the title page or header, page numbers, indented paragraphs, margins, spacing, citations, and references, quotation formats, and so on. While these things may seem nitpicky, they provide consistency in publications so that the reader can find information and so that your document looks professional. Don't forget to proofread your references, both for formatting, but also to make sure that all your citations in your paper have a reference in the reference list, and that everything in the reference list has a citation in the paper. You should only include sources in the reference list if you actually used it in your paper. Next, check for grammar. Make sure that you have no run-on sentences or sentence fragments. Check for correct punctuation. Semicolons, for example, are almost always used incorrectly by students. Learning to use semicolons and other punctuation accurately will make your document look more professional, but it's better to avoid using them if you're not really sure how to. Similarly, parallel structure in both sentences and paragraphs also make your writing look polished. Use a good grammar book to help you learn some of the common errors that people make. Finally, check your words. Make sure that your words are appropriate for the purpose and audience, but also make sure that you know the real meanings of the words that you use. If you use a thesaurus, also double check the meaning of the new words in the dictionary to ensure that you're using it correctly. I regularly have students who are trying really hard to sound knowledgeable, but they end up using words incorrectly. Transition words are important for improving flow and for signaling to your reader the direction you are going. Again, make sure that you truly understand both the connotative and denotative meanings of the words that you use. Of course, you also need to check your spelling. Use a spell checker, but always remember that the spell checker is not perfect. It will not catch misused words that are spelt correctly. Recall some of the commonly confused words, such as there and there. Most word processing programs also have a grammar checker. This tool can be useful for identifying potential problems, but you need to know your grammar rules to decide whether something really needs to be changed or not. In this video, we introduced the revision process. Revision is a complex process that can take as much time as the initial writing. Following the tips in this video can help you to learn the techniques that good editors use to improve their own and other people's writings. So we've considered questions such as, why is it important to become your own editor? What are the 5 basic steps of the revision process? How can writing a good title help to refocus a draft? And what should you look for in the different sweeps? Thank you for listening.